Coming up tonight on CTV News, a generous donation from Christchurch's sister city in Japan, and we speak to Rugby World Cup CEO Martin Snedden. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Kaneta Knight. As we all know, Japan suffered an earthquake followed by a tsunami only 2 weeks after Christchurch's own devastating earthquake. But Christchurch's sister city is still helping out. Emily Cooper has more.
Christchurch's sister city, Kurashiki, has donated a cheque for nearly $300,000 to the Merrill Fund. Along with this, a further $30,000 has been donated from the city of Kobe, who Christchurch supported when they suffered a devastating quake 16 years ago.
This is stunningly important. We've got two cheques here. This large cheque here, which will have trouble banking, but I'm told it's already been banked, the money, so it's a representation. Which is for $286,000, and that comes from the people of Kurashiki, which is Christchurch's sister city. And the people over there collected around the streets, on railway stations, businesses gave money. The local council topped it up, but just by a tiny amount. So this huge amount of money comes from the people in a town in Japan who are thinking about us in the midst of their own problems and their own issues. So what can we say except this is unbelievable, and it's absolutely so generous and gratefully received. Now the second cheque that I have here, which is in this beautiful envelope here, is for around about $30,000, and this actually comes from Kobe. Now, you might remember Kobe was devastated by an earthquake some years ago, and at that time our city offered to help, and we had I think 150 children who were billeted in Christchurch for 3 months while their parents rebuilt their homes and got on with their lives and tried to get things back to normal. Those young people are now adults. 15 years later, they went out into their community up until the day of the big earthquake that struck off the northern coast of Japan. And up until then, they'd collected all around their city, and these young people have got about $30,000 in there. So from a country that's a long, long way away, who have some links with our city, they've never forgotten what the people of the city did for them, and they feel very strongly that this is their chance to remember us and to help us. And it's, well, you know, it's the best of human nature. It's very special, and it means a great deal to the people of our city.
The Christchurch Kurashiki Sister City Committee believes in time of need the sister city relationship is important.
Christchurch has had a sister city relationship with Kurashiki for quite a number of years. In fact, we've got our 40th anniversary coming up in a year or two's time. So it's the longest or the oldest sister city relationship Christchurch has with another city. And it is one that means a lot to both Kurashiki and Christchurch. It's a very active relationship and is based on some education exchanges we do with Kurashiki and frequent visits from people of Christchurch to Christchurch.
And Steve believes the money will help Christchurch's rebuild immensely.
I think it's very important, particularly from the point of view of the relationship. The funds that were raised were pretty much raised through citizen donations in Kurashiki, so just the ordinary Kurashiki people giving money. They raised probably 90% of the money with a top-up from the City Hall, their City Council. And I think that shows the depth of the relationship and what they think of the importance of the relationship. So yes, it's a very, very strong, very important relationship.
Committee member Newton Dodge experienced firsthand Japan's suffering from the quake.
Yes, we had arranged to go to Kobe and Kurashiki and Osaka to talk to them about the fundraising that they were going to do for Christchurch. We decided to go, picked a date, but the day before we went, they had their earthquake, so we had almost a double whammy. When we arrived there, it was all talk about Japan's earthquake as well as our experiences here. Our main reason for going to Kobe was that 16 years ago, Kobe had their big earthquake, 1995, and we in Christchurch had the opportunity. I was asked to do homestays for about 150 children from Kobe who were shipped to Christchurch, and we looked after them in homestays here for about 3 months. And they were wanting to say thank you now because of what we did for them. They were looking to raise funds for our Christchurch earthquake. So we went over and spoke to many groups and helped them with their fundraising and brought back a cheque for just over $30,000 to present to the Mayor, and we're going to be doing that.
Anne Newton says there was sympathy for Christchurch from the Japanese people, even after their own devastating quake.
But when we got there, of course, we were preempted by that one day, and it was a two-way talk. So each time I spoke to groups, it was to relate the same feelings that we had as they had in Japan. It was surreal to arrive there, and people said, "You're coming all the way from New Zealand and you've come to an earthquake country." But it was pre-arranged and we had done that, and we enjoyed the time speaking to community groups and the people that were doing the fundraising. And to us it was a huge donation. To them they were embarrassed because they needed to cut short their appeal, and they were able to present that $30,000 to our mayor, and they then needed to raise funds for their own appeal.
Deputy Chair David Bolam-Smith says he was helped during the quake by the people of the city.
When we got the money from Japan, we were so grateful, and the firemen or the rescue squad came down from Kurashiki, sent by the mayor, and they helped me pick up all the rocks and bricks off my house. And I was so grateful, not only physically, emotionally, that they did that for me. And then when I had the opportunity to go to Japan, I just wanted to go down to Kurashiki and thank them personally, not just by email or letter. And it's been arranged, and there's a mural reception for us when we go down on the 22nd of June, and the Friends of Kurashiki and we're having a reunion, and I'll have that opportunity to convey personally on behalf of everybody here in Christchurch our gratitude and thanks that they made that splendid and generous donation in their time of need as well. And also when I go to Tokyo, hopefully I'm going to attend a sort of a fundraising dinner hosted by the ambassador of New Zealand into Tokyo, and there's 500 people invited, and they hope to raise lots of money not only for New Zealand and Christchurch, but also for the Japanese earthquake victims as well.
And he says while Japan is going through its own disaster, the kindness of the people of Kurashiki is immense.
For me personally, I really feel that this is where sister cities show their strength, and we become one people, two countries, and I just hope that lots of people will see the worth of the sister city movement that we've got, and it's just one of the most moving experiences I've had in my whole life.
And the money will go to various areas of the rebuild and possibly a memorial to the Christchurch quake victims.
This money will be going into the Merrill Fund, and it is for use probably for projects or groups in our community, and there's a process for people to apply for that. So this is not money that's going into welfare as such. That's really the preserve of the Red Cross Fund. This is money which is specifically be given to a special Merrill Fund for us as a council to use for groups or maybe heritage or reconstruction of specific things. I think one of the things that we would be doing with this money is, or some of this money is using it for a memorial when the time is right. I think we as a city need to talk to each other and to the countries that have lost young people in the earthquake here and decide on some appropriate form of memorial. We're not rushing that process. There are many things to do. Probably about a year out, I think that would be about the right time.